Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're all healthy and staying at home. My name is Mario and in this video I'm going to be discussing 15 business industries that are failing due to the whole situation of the coronavirus. Make sure to stay tuned to find out more. Before I start off, I just want to say thank you to everybody that have been incredibly supportive so far. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to turn that notification button on so that you can receive non-stop notifications from myself and YouTube every time I upload a new cool video. Here comes number 1, and that is most city centers and high streets. As you probably imagine, most people around the world were used to going to those shopping centers and they just want to feel the item that they would like to purchase. But unfortunately that is not available now because most of the centers and the actual stores themselves have decided that it's safer if people were to stay home, and they would also cut on their costs. What that means is that most people that weren't previously used to shopping and going online, they actually will start shopping online. And that is, by the way, a hint, one of the business industries that will proceed. That's like e-commerce and online shopping. But yes, most will probably get closed in the next few months or even more due to the whole situation. So you guessed it correct. If you were thinking of investing into a company that is currently having a lot of shopping centers, make sure to consider whether for the next few months or so you will actually be profitable, because most certainly that company will not be as profitable as it used to. And it's time for number 2, and that is bars and restaurants. We're all used to going to bars and restaurants so that we can have a bit of fun time with our friends and family and maybe even partners. That unfortunately won't be the case here, because most governments have actually declined the usage of all of those bars and restaurants due to the situation of the virus. Most governments around the world have decided that their country will be in a full lockdown, and what that means is that people won't be able to go in any kind of, first of all, shopping centers, second of all, bars and restaurants. Unfortunately, most governments do not actually compensate the employees that are actually fired because of the whole situation. I can tell from a personal perspective, because I've done my research, is that the British government is actually going to cover 80% of the salaries of those employees who were fired due to the coronavirus. A good thing about the government's policies is that at least they allow you to go outside once per day to do your workout, and at the same time be able to shop all of the necessities that are required for you to stay healthy and be at home. In most case scenarios, you probably are fully aware that even though most bars and restaurants are closed, you can still go and actually purchase something from the shops nearby. Grocery stores have been closed down, but those that are nationwide and worldwide known are actually open. The third business industry that is failing due to the whole situation of the coronavirus is actually music festivals. There's all sorts of festivals going all around the world. Unfortunately, all of those have been delayed and cancelled for 2020 so far. Unfortunately, there's no sign when are they gonna be back on, and until what date have they actually been delayed to. Another bad thing about the music festivals, if they're being cancelled, there's usually thousands of people involved in the whole process. What I mean by that is that people, before going to the concert itself and the festival, they need to have travel tickets, going on the airplane or wherever transport is necessary for them to go to that place. At the same time, they need to think where they're gonna sleep, so that's accommodation, hotels, that industry which is about to follow up. And also a lot of other stuff as backstage crew, or at the same time booking agents. All of those companies and all of those people will probably be jobless for now. And probably most of the costs that were actually endured because of the whole marketing strategy of those companies will be lost. And that is obviously not the companies or the festival organization's fault, but it's because of the virus itself. On that point, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know on what kind of festivals or music shows you were used to going previously when you were able to go out. And here comes number 4, and that is sporting events. So Sharky, what are we gonna be discussing today? Let me know.
We're gonna be discussing the sporting events.
What do you mean about those sporting events? How is that an industry that actually is not succeeding in this whole situation?
I can tell from personal perspective, because I've seen that in March 11th, the 11th NBA season was actually cancelled.
Oh my god, I heard something about the Tokyo Olympics as well. Is that true?
Yeah, they actually decided to delay the Tokyo Olympics in 2022, and I'm like, that's a bit crazy, isn't it?
I know exactly what you mean. That was more than enough. Thank you so much. We were featured by Sharky Shark in Mario's World. And here comes number 5, and that is the beauty service industry. There's a lot of people around the world that care more about how they look rather than who they actually are. Unfortunately, that has been an issue of the generations so far. But I can tell you that that is definitely going to change in the next few months or so. There's gonna be billions of people around the world that will stop putting on makeup every day, or let's say for example going to the salon to do their hair, or going to the salon to do their nails. Because most of those people around the world do it because of a particular reason, and that is to like themselves and to see themselves in a different shape, or to be liked by somebody else. And let me tell you, most of those people as well do it before they have an important date coming up. Probably there won't be any dates coming up because people won't be going outside unless it's for something that is necessity. What that also means is that people will probably decrease the way that they take care of themselves. Of course, people will probably keep themselves at a certain hygiene and at a certain type of looks, but however, they probably won't be getting that nail polish thing, you know, and their hair done every week or so. They'll probably have it in a few months down the line when those services are open and ready to work. It's time for number 6, and that is gyms. I wouldn't call that the fitness industry itself is actually being damaged by the whole situation, because as I mentioned on my previous video, the fitness equipment suppliers are actually making so much money because of the whole situation, because people are ordering online equipment because they can't really go to the gym and work out. However, due to that situation, probably most gyms around the world are closed down. Most governments, as I previously mentioned, have probably closed down the nearest gym that you have, or at the same time all gyms that are in your country and in your area. That is obviously because you get any type of personal interaction in those gyms, you get to touch a lot of stuff, a lot of items around the gym itself, and you can very easily spread the disease if you already have it. Of course, there's people around the world that prefer not to go out to the gym and rather work out at home, and that's actually a leading way to a different part of the fitness industry, which is the supplying of equipment. And here comes number 7, and that is weddings and the funeral industry. I can tell you from my personal research that Australia has actually forbidden funerals because they consider it non-essential gathering. Another thing, for example, that was said by Trump, who is the president of the United States, is that people won't be able to go into weddings if there's gonna be more than 100 people involved. And that was even a month ago, so probably at this moment that we're speaking, probably no weddings will be taking place. And I can tell from personal perspective because one of my colleagues actually was supposed to get married over the past 2 weeks or so. They had to cancel their wedding, and not only their wedding, they had to cancel everything beforehand, even though they've paid deposits on a few things. What I mean by that is that even though their wedding was already organized for about 6 months or so, they already had invitations towards 400 people, all of them had their air traveling tickets booked, all of them had their accommodations booked. None of them will actually be able to come to the wedding itself because there wouldn't be a wedding to actually attend. Here comes number 8, and that is museums, cinemas, and theaters. I've seen online that theaters and museums are trying to be as innovative as possible. Or museums are allowing the customers to visit all of their facilities and items inside from the comfort of their own house. Just going online and typing the museum will be sufficient enough for you to see everything that you want. Probably most cinemas around the world as well are really closed down because there wouldn't be any new movies coming up, and at the same time there's gonna be too much personal interaction if you're thinking of going to the cinema by yourself or with your friends. And another personal thing that I can tell you about the cinemas is that I had a monthly subscription and that has been cancelled by the company. And here comes number 9, and that is airline and travel agencies. As you're probably aware, people are supposed to stay at their own house, and what that means is that they won't be traveling as much as they were used to. They won't be taking any holidays, or if they want to take any holidays, they would just stay at their own comfort, meaning at home. That eventually leads to a lot of shortages and a lot of unemployment in the airline and traveling industry itself. And as you've probably imagined, you can even see from the stock prices, the stock prices for all of those airline industries are falling so much that it's even unbelievable. There's about 90% decline in people's bookings over the past month or so, and they're supposedly one of the cheapest ones. So you can actually imagine what is happening with the more expensive ones. And it's time for number 10, and that is the cruise industry. As I've previously mentioned, people wouldn't be traveling. Necessarily the cruise liner industry is not the only one, as I mentioned, that is taking a huge downturn in this situation. It all started with the Diamond Japan cruise, which had 3,700 passengers. It actually had 700 people that were tested positive. Unfortunately, that led to 8 people dying before they even got the chance to be taken to the hospital. Here comes number 11, and that is most big factories around the world. One of the main reasons of the virus itself actually spreading so quickly around China is that it's basically a country that produces probably 50% of the items around the world. What that means that there's a lot of factories that can very easily actually spread the virus. Most of those workers are now working part-time, and they're probably trying to find another way of actually creating revenue for their own household. And that obviously leads to a lot of suppliers not being able to deliver on the same days that they were supposed to deliver certain items. Here comes number 12, and that is the Dutch cut flower industry. At the Aalsmeer auction, which is one of the biggest auctions around the world for flowers, 20% of the flowers that were to be sold were actually thrown away. In March, actually, the flower industry took a 50% dive. What that means is there's gonna be thousands of people losing their jobs. Royal Flora Holland is actually saying that the government should necessarily intervene. If they don't, a lot of people lose their jobs and the world will go into panic mode. Here comes number 13, and that is the hotel industry. Most hotels were forced to shut down due to the whole situation, as people are not being able to leave their own house. There's millions of people, if not even billions of people around the world that are in this business, because it has been incredibly profitable for people across the past generation or so. I can tell you from a personal perspective, I was used to traveling at least a few times a year, and that will probably change in this year, maybe even next one. That obviously leads to me renting a lot less than I was used to when I was going on those vacations. So you can imagine, if I was used to spending a certain amount of price and a certain amount of money each time that I was going on a holiday, those amount of money actually will be staying with me now that I can now invest. However, that means that probably most of the hotels or resorts that I was used to actually booking my trips with will probably lose a lot of money. Due to that whole situation, all of the accommodations in the hotel industry have decided to close down for a little at least. That way they won't be able to spend as much on water, electricity and heating, but they will have to probably fire a few people here and there. And let me just give you a quick example. There's summer coming along just in a month or so. There's gonna be amazing weather outside, and what happens if the government in your country or in any country around the world has decided that you will not be able to go out and go to the beach if you wanted to? You will probably have to do it if you want to so much illegally, which I'm not suggesting you do, or you will probably stay at home. Just in the US, and just a few weeks back, an official press release came out saying that 4 million people will probably lose their jobs that are in this specific sector. So you can only imagine, in a worldwide situations, how much people are gonna lose from that. And here comes number 14, and that is correlated services. There's obviously 1,000 ways that a university or school itself can get somebody to accompany their students. What I mean by that is that how are people gonna get the meals in their loft area or whatever they were used to getting those meals if there's not gonna be anybody to supply those meals? All of those services that were previously used to support universities and schools will probably go bankrupt now. At the same time, when you think about it, there's so many dance classes or sports activities. A lot of those coaches are actually rented on a day-to-day basis, or at least per hour. What that means is that they can end the contract at any minute and they won't be doing their job as they were previously used to. On that point, make sure to leave a comment down below whether you think there's going to be universities to become far more popular now because they're offering online courses rather than going in person. And here comes number 15, and that is sightseeing and guiding tours. Obviously, since most people will have to stay at home, and that means that they won't be traveling, it makes sense for all of those guiding industries to actually be taken down. And as you probably imagined, all of those famous attractions around the world are pretty empty at the moment. What that means is that it's not only the sightseers that are actually staying at home. That means that all of those touring agencies that are supposed to educate you about those facilities are actually gonna be staying at home as well. They've decided to lay off thousands, millions of people around the world because they won't be able to provide you the services that they were supposed to deliver. That will be all for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. It has been incredible. I really appreciate it. Make sure to leave a comment down below on what do you want to see next. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe and turn that notification button on for all of those new videos that are gonna blow your mind. And with that being said, thank you all so much, and up to the next one. See ya!